YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with some more NFL record predictions going game by game. This video for the Philadelphia Eagles. We did the whole AFC East. We did the Cowboys from the NFC East. Now the Eagles. Going to continue on. After the NFC East, we're going to jump back to the AFC, go to the North, and we're going to get through every single NFL team. You're going to want to follow our Twitter because once we're through in a division, we're going to tweet out a poll, and you guys will vote for who wins that division. And then we'll kind of circle back. You guys will vote for the wild card teams, and then we'll make it into like a playoff, voting polls on the Twitter, and then they'll turn into a video. So you guys will be heavily involved for sure. So you're going to want to check out that Twitter link below. Please subscribe to both of our channels, trying to reach 50K on both. We're really close on this channel, the main channel here. So I really appreciate the support. And then we had the podcast, Spotify and Apple, 9 episodes out. Really enjoying making that something new here. So we're continuing to grow. Just thanks to all the support out there to help us do so. So check that out. Link down below for anything you need for any podcast, Twitter, anything. To the Eagles predictions, playoffpredictors.com is what was used for all of these. A very cool website. You guys can go ahead and make your predictions. I want you to post in the comments below, not just the record, but who you had winning what game on these. It would be really cool to see that, kind of compare everyone's together if we can get that going, have some good discussions down there. But breaking down the Eagles, it's one of those teams where it's all it is staying healthy. That's what it is. If this is a healthy team, it's a very good team. But you do worry about, there's a different level of concern for each position group. I'd say for I'm going to say that Carson Wentz stays healthy this year. That's what I'm going to say. But there is concern. Could he miss some games? Could he be playing beat up? Look at the offensive line. We've seen guys in and out of games in the past because of that, and they've always had really good depth. Maybe the depth has taken a hit for this year. So they got to stay healthy. Look at the receiver unit. Yeah, the bad news is Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, guys that could get hurt. But the good news is they really built up that receiver unit throughout the draft. Adding several receivers, I'd say some pretty good ones too. So that's the good thing. On the defensive side, the secondary's been beat up. They do get better with Darius Slay. And then, he has been in and out of games at times the last couple of years, though, too. So that's where the concern is at, but it's a very good team. I do like adding Javon Hargrave. I think that's an underrated addition. Because everyone knows where his talent level is. He's nothing spectacular. He's a very solid nose tackle, young, still improving. But I think adding a true nose tackle gives the Eagles the flexibility to kind of give different looks there on the defense. Adding an actual nose tackle can kind of move guys around a bit, almost 3-4 looks at times if they want to do that. We've seen some teams really not strictly stick to the 4-3, which the Eagles mainly are. So that's going to give us all kinds of different looks here with the Eagles. It's going to be very cool. But to the actual predictions here, week one's pretty random, and anything could happen here, especially away against the Redskins. It's a new look, new coach, Redskins team. So anything could happen, but I still got to go with the Eagles here, fully healthy, fully prepared, the better team in 2020, especially the start of the season. So I'm going to take the Eagles home against the Rams. A little tougher to play the Rams early on, maybe. He's another team that's kind of tough to game plan for, but they're home. I like that they're home here. Being home in this game is big time. Take the Eagles. Joe Burrow's Bengals could be a sneaky team, not really just because of Joe Burrow, but because the young talent they've been mainly on defense. They have been drafting over the last couple of years. Could surprisingly be better than people expect, but still early in Philadelphia, just the better team. Got to take the Eagles. Then they're going to be at San Fran. Should be a pretty good one. This could go either way. I think being in San Francisco makes it a little tougher. That pass rush, how look at after Wentz, because there was times last year where the pass rush did actually get after Wentz pretty good. And that's kind of when the offensive line was beat up here and there. So how will the offensive line be this year? It's always definitely a top-tier offensive line. But so they have a test here against a top pass rush. I think being in San Francisco makes it a little tougher. I do like the Steelers for this year, because especially early in the year, because we know Big Ben's healthy, we know James Conner's healthy. Hopefully by this point at Week 5 for their sake, same for the Eagles. And that defense is, very, very solid. Last year wasn't really the peak in my opinion either. You got Bud Dupree just started to step up last year. T.J. Watt's still very young. A lot of young guys. See what Devin Bush able to do early on. So being in Pittsburgh, it's a tough road here. San Francisco and Pittsburgh. Two away games, two tough teams, two teams with really good pass rush. I think being away in those kind of makes it tough. So then we're they were 3-0, and we're dropping down to 3-2. At the end of this video, like I do all of them, I'll go back and do best case scenario, maybe some close games, swap them a little bit, maybe worst case scenario as well. So it's more than just normal predictions here. But then the I don't like the matchup against the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson against that defense I think it's a problem for them. I think it just still feels like kind of I don't want to say old school, but it still kind of feels that way, almost like an old school defense. I just think Lamar Jackson maybe a little too much for them to handle there, so that's why I worry about that. So they dropped to 3-3, home against the Giants, where they turn it back around. This is Thursday Night Football in Philadelphia, like that, against the Cowboys. Home game here before the bye week. Know they're going in with a pretty good bye week in Week 10, get a break. I think that's definitely a win there. After the bye week, they come out. Yeah, this is an either way one. The Eagles are better. The Giants can be sneaky good this year. They got a really tough schedule though. I think the Giants grab one on them. I think they grab one. So I want the Giants here, dropping them to 5-4. I've seen the Giants play them pretty tough last year. In that primetime game, which was a huge win for the Eagles, and that was with Eli Manning. So if Daniel Jones takes that next step, this team in general takes the next step, they could be a sneaky team. In Cleveland, it's another one of those where it's kind of a toss-up. Could go either Cleveland. It's tough to say what they'll be. They're a pretty complete roster. I wouldn't say it's a great roster. I think it's a pretty complete one. Got some top-tier talent here. I'm going to take the Eagles in this one, though. I think it's one of those games where, the Browns defense can be pretty good with some young talent, but mainly they're relying on Myles Garrett to get to the quarterback, sometimes by himself. I know they have Sheldon Richardson on the inside. It's pretty solid, but, just not enough here. Can they keep up scoring with the Eagles in this scenario? Seahawks-Eagles, is it safe to predict 17-7 final after two 17-7 finals last year? Definitely not, but yeah, that was pretty interesting. But this one is kind of the revenge game here. Philly at home, Monday night. Give me the Eagles in that one. The Packers, seemed like the Eagles were a rough matchup for the Packers last year. This one is going to be a late Sunday afternoon game. This one in Lambeau. I think the Packers get the revenge in this one from last year. That was a really good game last year. The Eagles, it just felt like an odd matchup. The Packers were the better team last year. Who would be the better team this year? It's kind of up in the air. I think in Lambeau, Week 13 of the NFL, got to take the Packers. Eagles home against the Saints. I think being home in this one's a pretty good factor. I do like the Eagles in this one. It's definitely a toss-up. To me, the Saints are a pretty balanced team. They're mainly going to win because of offense, though. But this is the type of offense that the Eagles, that defense is kind of built to play against. It's just the old school type defense versus the old school type offense. And these Eagles will have more of a unique defense this year, though, giving a little bit different looks. Like I said, they're going to be able to move some guys around. Even like Malik Jackson can play interior. He can play almost end. In a 3-4. They have the flexibility, I think. Derek Barnett familiar with the 3-4 end as well. So I really think they're going to give some different looks. They're still base 4-3, but I think they're more built to play against the pro-style offenses here. And then, they've had some young talent over the last couple of years being added in, and they haven't really impressed all that much. But now is kind of the time. On top of adding some key players, and Darius Slay is the one that stands out for sure. So I think the Eagles sneak this one out at home. At the Cardinals, this should be a good one. I like the Cardinals for this year. I think Kyler Murray could be a little bit of a problem for them in Arizona, so I'm actually going to take the Cardinals in that one, so 8-6. Then against the Cowboys, I just like the way the Eagles stack up against the Cowboys, kind of like they did last year as well. So I'm going to take the Eagles there. And then Week 17, finishing it off, I kind of like the way that finishes. So then they go 10-6. It's a tough one because I do really like this Eagles team. I think they can get as high as maybe the 2 seed, but I have them going 10-6 because of the schedule. Tougher schedule maybe than we expected, and you got to stay healthy. That's the key. So 10-6 is my prediction. Some tough away games. See the record 3-5 away hurts a little bit, but Niners, Steelers, they could go to. We kind of circle back. We can circle back here. Maybe between the Steelers and the Ravens, they could win one of those games. Maybe against the Steelers, they win that game. Maybe they don't go. Maybe they don't split against the Giants. Maybe they win that one. So that brings it to 12. They're a good. I could say they're a good matchup against the Packers last year. Can they be this year? So they could win that one. But you got to remember, I had them beating the Saints. Had them going 2-0 against the Cowboys, 2-0 against the Redskins, being the Rams here. So not all of these are going to flip. Not all of them are going to flip. Maybe one of these. So I think 13. I think, yeah, I was going to say the range maybe could, it depends on if they're healthy or not. It's one of those teams that you can't fully trust to stay healthy, but you see the best case at 13. I had them winning 10 games. Worst case would be including injuries. What would worst case be? Lose this game, fall there. They could fall there. I mean, Seattle's a tough one as well. And I did have, it's pretty tough. They can go down around 8, maybe even 7. 7, that's the bottom line. That's the absolute bottom line there. But I had the 10-win season for the Eagles. It's just really, about staying healthy, where we can flip these back. I had the 10-6 there for the Eagles, and I'm pretty confident about that range. Again, the health scares you a little bit. I'm believing in them this year. It wasn't so much last year. I was in that category. This year I'm believing in them, so it almost feels, it's kind of going back why I'm confident around the 10 wins. I really don't. If they stay healthy, it's not going to be I don't even see the 9 win. It's not, but it's definitely going to be not going to be below the 9 wins. It's going to be the 9, 10, 11, 12 range for them if they're healthy, which I'm kind of banking on them being this year, I hope. But I'm excited for that defense. It's weird to say that. Excited for the Eagles' defense. It's kind of a strange thing there. Because remember last year they started off so poorly because the secondary was just so poor. And they started to figure it out a little bit. So maybe if they kind of can click, they got some new additions. They're going to give some different looks. This could be a pretty good, unique defense here. So, not going to be the greatest, but it could be sneaky good, I guess. Along with that offense, which we know we need to stay more consistent. But we know it should, for the most part, should be playing pretty well. So that's my thoughts on the Eagles. Let me know your guys' thoughts. For them, again, it's all about there's a lot of those teams, but it's one of those teams where it's about health. So we'll see. So comment with your predictions. Click that like button. Check us out on both of our channels. Check us out on Twitter. Check out the podcast. Link down below. Comments, description for everything you need. Really appreciate the support. Right about at 50K. You guys are awesome. That's gonna do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.